We're online.
Hello and welcome to the Expletives Included generic podcast, with much less nutritional value than all other name brand podcasts. I almost got it that time.
I feel like making you say it again, but I'm not going to.
Because we go on far too long as it is.
Yeah, we got distracted by our own preamble tonight.
Well, I can't remember. I probably started it, but you're the one who kind of started trying to get me to look at men's lingerie.
It's pronounced lingerie.
And I still don't get where that's from.
Mad Max 2.
Mad Max 2, okay.
It's like how you don't pronounce petrol gasoline, it's guzzling.
Petrol.
Gasoline.
Petrol.
You sound like a Doctor Who character.
Yeah, it was from a Mitchell and Webb look sketch.
Yeah, Laurie showed me some.
We had a few ideas of what to talk about this evening. Key wanted to talk about a film that I didn't realize until this morning. Although I find it quite...
Despite me sending you the message over a day ago.
I don't respond to Facebook anymore.
How am I meant to communicate with you then?
I don't respond to group messages on Facebook anymore.
I sent you an individual message at the same time.
And I probably checked your one. I don't know.
And you didn't respond to it.
Maybe you just didn't need responding to. Anyway, I find it's funny because the film that you wanted me to see, I can't remember what it was called, but
Dragon Blade.
Dragon Blade. It's a Jackie Chan film. And when I kind of didn't realize what you were talking about, I was like, I don't know what film you're talking about. Well, the only film that I've seen recently is this old Jackie Chan film, which is an odd coincidence. The one which I saw was The Legend of the Drunken Master, which I thought was going to be a sequel to The Drunken Master because it's a Jackie Chan film that was released afterwards, and it's both Drunken Master. But it's not. It's a completely different story. And I'm wondering if maybe, because I don't know the timeline exactly, but I'm wondering if Drunken Master is just like a style that Jackie Chan wanted to be known for, or just it was just like his most kind of showy martial art, and he just kind of liked pulling it out for films. So well, it does look fun.
It could also be that it was renamed by Western distributors.
Drunken boxing, drunken fighting is the actual like style that he used in the in the film, and he does kind of get stronger by drinking booze.
Okay. Also, on the note of Jackie Chan sequels, there are a crap ton of police story movies.
I thought there was like only 3.
They have spin-offs now.
Okay. With Jackie Chan, or?
Some of them, yeah.
Okay. 3 or 4. Can't remember which ones I've seen, but I think I've got like the first one on DVD, and that's a great one.
Mm-hmm. Well, the reason I wanted you to see this movie is it was like the first time I saw Frankenstein Girl versus Vampire Girl.
Mm-hmm.
I needed someone to confirm that I wasn't just hallucinating for 90 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Like, this is a real film. And then we did watch Vampire Girl versus Frankenstein Girl, and I did assure you that it was a real film.
Yeah. We actually watched that film a surprising amount.
I only saw it once.
Really? I thought we watched it like 3 or 4 times.
Can't remember. I think I've only seen it once.
I know I'd sometimes like put on clips from it, like the musical scene.
All the time.
That musical scene.
The one where he's singing about cutting up his daughter?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you liked that. That was weird.
Because it's so happy.
What man doesn't want to cut up his own daughter?
He's singing about cutting up his daughter, and he was really happy singing some way while dismembering a corpse, and he ends up using the corpse as a musical instrument.
He does. I forgot about that. It was a crazy film.
Yeah. May we never see its like again.
There are plenty of films like it, as if I'm correct in my thinking.
Probably, yeah.
But so I think like there's like Tokyo. No, is it Tokyo? Some kind of
Tokyo.
yo-yo police force
Mm-hmm.
with like bladed yo-yos and shit, and they just kind of go around and
Yeah,
carve people.
I've seen that one.
Any good?
Yeah. You know, it's not as funny. The sort of joke of, oh, she's fighting with a yo-yo gets pretty old quick.
Yeah. So that was your idea, which we might do next week.
Because it's a film we need to talk about at some point.
And then I felt that it would be kind of jumping on the bandwagon, which is what we need to do right now, to talk about Furries and Otherkin, because they seem to be kind of doing the rounds at the moment on the YouTube circuit. And on my Facebook wall, it's kind of come up once or twice, which, I don't know, it seems to have been quiet recently, as far as I know. Like the past couple of months, I just haven't heard anything about it, and then just like 3 or 4 things all pop up at the same time.
Admittedly, I did send you a thing about Otherkin the other day.
Did you?
Yes.
I can't remember that. What was it?
It was what I thought was a troll account.
The troll account. What do you mean what you thought was a troll account?
I go back and forth on it because it's such a dedicated trolling.
You
know,
I have seen like Varian blogs, like obviously fake, or at least I thought it was obviously fake, but just and then like the last post is just like saying, sorry, I can't do this anymore. I've tried to be as absurd as I possibly can, but I just can't keep ahead of the trends on Tumblr.
Yeah.
And it's just like they try so hard to parody and satire, and they just, no matter how hard they try and how much they work, they're still indistinguishable from the people who actually believe this stuff.
I mean, in my experience, trolls aren't dedicated enough to put out a blog and deal with the backlash and sort of talk to other community members for several years.
Years?
Yeah. It's a 2-3-year-old blog and it's still updating today.
That is a dedicated troll, if it is one.
If it's not a troll, Jesus Christ, that person is horrifying.
Yeah, because like some of the stuff they were coming out with, particularly with their dead mother.
Yeah, that's how I found it. I'll scroll back in our chat, which it's like
She was Squirrel Ken, I remember that.
Yeah, squirrelygirl.tumblr.com. And she's got an incorrect Latin quote as her name. Yeah, this was last updated 3 days ago. She goes by the name of Kaikura, which she claims is South Afrikaans for squirrel. She's an unapologetic squirrelkin, and her pronouns are paw, poor self, and paws.
Okay.
Now, the ironic thing about her taking a South Afrikaans name is she's incredibly racist.
Okay, I didn't see any of these racist posts, but do go on.
She claims all non-white people trigger her. Just seeing them triggers her PTSD.
Does she explain why she has PTSD?
Oh, because when she was in her early teens, she went to a farm, a chicken farm, where she saw animals being killed.
Didn't she say she wasn't a vegetarian though? There was something. She's a vegan.
Yeah.
I remember there was something to do with cows being raped on a daily basis or something.
That was her reason she doesn't support the dairy industry.
No, there was something weird about it. Like, I don't know. I can't think of what it was, but I'm assuming it was like one of those kind of scenarios where you kind of get people who say, we live in a rape culture and rape is terrible and it's the worst thing that could possibly happen and I wouldn't wish it upon anyone, but this man is a paedophile and I hope he gets ass raped in prison.
Mm-hmm.
So like the kind of idea that rape is like a justifiable punishment to use on like certain people in prison for humans, but if it happens to an animal, then it's gross because it's institutionalized in this farming industry. And I'm assuming I think that's what the idea that I got.
I'm unsure. Her ramblings are quite incoherent.
But this was like one of the asks, because I think it was like saying like, how can you kind of say that this isn't bad, but then like if it happens in like this situation, that it's kind of will stop you kind of supporting the dairy industry. I think it was something like that. It was like someone was asking her. I don't know. I can't remember, so I'm rambling. But it seemed to be like why is rape okay for humans if it's bad, if it's kind of preventing you from partaking in dairy? She was like saying something along the lines of, it's because it's institutionalized, not industrialized. It's part of the whole production line. It's part of the whole institution.
Well, she's as coherent as a Fox anchor. As,
like in her early 20s, so she is like an adult.
She claims to be 20. Now I'll cover some of the other sort of debacles on her page if before we get to the big one.
No, unless we're like actually talking about furries and other kin.
Okay, actually, yeah, let's go straight to the big thing with her. This is the level of troll this person is. She claims, well, she sets up a story of how her mother died. Her mother had cancer. Her mother had a heart condition, so she was prescribed nitrogelatin, which this young lady realized were made from cow bones, which isn't actually the case, but whatever. So she replaced her mother's heart medication with a vegan homeopathic substitute. Then guess what happened?
Her mother died.
Yeah. In this narrative. And the girl in question blames the doctors.
Of course. There's nothing wrong with this homeopathic remedy. What was the name of her blog?
Just scroll up in my chat with you.
Yes.
squirrelygirl.tumblr.com.
So I'll see if I can find out what I was talking about, because it doesn't feel like the kind of thing that I would just kind of get out of nowhere. But
people talk a lot of shit about rape culture.
Well, no, because that was just kind of like my example, because you do like have these people who are just kind of like, well, who kind of seem to abhor rape and rightfully so, but then kind of treat it as okay as long as it happens to bad people in prison.
That's what we call cognitive dissonance.
I want to call it doublethink after reading 1984. It's holding two views that are
are mutually
Obviously, say again?
two views that are mutually exclusive.
Yeah, but believing both of them.
I prefer dissonance because of the dis
Hmm.
sounds cooler. Yeah,
Um, hmm.
but there has been a bit of a thing about Otherkin in the news. A big article that's been doing the rounds on Huffington Post, Pink News, I think even the Guardian briefly, was about a Norwegian girl who believed she was a cat.
Oh, say again?
I said an article that has been doing the rounds on the various news sites I peruse, Huffington Post, Pink News, The Guardian, is about a young Norwegian lady who believes she is a cat.
That's the one that I saw as well. That's the one which is kind of shared on my Facebook wall. She was born with a kind of a very distinct sense of smell, like a better than average.
Well, she claims.
She claims. And ergo, she must be a cat. And I think she's kind of got a partner or just like a close friend who's also kind of otherkin as a cat, and they kind of act as cats together, but he doesn't have this sense of smell. He just believes it for other reasons other than that.
I mean, the entirety of the sort of medical portion of this and the Pink News article had a brief quote from her psychiatrist was, yeah, just let her get it out of her system. She's not hurting anyone. It's kind of like, you're legitimizing this. Okay.
Well, he's basically saying that it's just like a fantasy that needs to play its course. And as long as it's not hurting anyone, then...
I mean, though
like
she is sort of...
actual thing. He's just like saying that the healthiest way to deal with it is for her to grow out of it.
I mean, well, I guess Norway is a fairly safe country, so she's
How old she was?
I don't remember. I'll bring up the article. I did actually intend to bring up a bunch of articles, but
so back to this squirrel girl. I think I found what I remember seeing, but it's not really kind of explaining her viewpoint. It's just Anonymous asked, cows are raised in horrible environments where they are constantly raped. That's in quotation marks, so I think that's something which she said as part of why she doesn't have dairy. And then it goes on, ... but you support rape. How can this put you off? So I don't think I ever found her kind of assertion that she supported rape. It's just this ask. And she doesn't deny that. She says, I do not support the rape of innocent vegan animals like cows. So from that, I guess I just extrapolated that, I guess, humans or people who eat meat, people who aren't innocent and people who aren't vegan, it's okay for them to be raped. Or
yeah, that's the level of troll she's at.
Say again?
That's the level of troll she's at.
Yeah, but then again, 3 years. That's
Yeah, I mean, she's also pro-life.
Yes, I think I did see that.
That's why she supports people being raped, because she's pro-life.
Oh, I think I've seen arguments about this. I don't know. That's a messy kind of line to go down.
Anyway, back to Cat Girl. She's 20 years old, so same as Squirrel Girl, who is apparently called Nano. She realized she was a cat when she was 16. She now communicates via meowing, wears fake ears and a fake tail, and hisses when she sees dogs on the street.
I don't think this is something that she's going to grow out of. For, I don't know, 4 years she's been kind of cultivating this.
Yeah, but those are teenage years. I mean, I have sort of no problem with her doing this, but my worry is if she's acting in a obviously strange way, that could get her negative attention and hurt.
Mm.
You know, I don't know. There's all manner of weirdness in the world, and I don't particularly like Otherkin. Their logic is fairly spurious.
I'm just trying to think. I can't remember if my first kind of dealings with Otherkin were actual people or whether it was something that I found online.
Online, no one knows you're a dog.
So I do actually know someone who I don't think they ever kind of came out and said they were Otherkin, but it's obvious. It was kind of obvious that is what they kind of identified. They identified with a cat. That was their kin type, I believe is the term. And they would just do these kind of random things, and well, they were a very special case because they weren't just Otherkin. They were also a multiple system. Is that the term? Well, like the kind of more serious way of saying they had headmates.
Ah,
Headmates is like it's not like a derogatory term, or at least not yet, I think.
another thing our squirrel girl claims she has.
Oh, okay. But yes, he was one of the rational people with headmates. So he didn't have these. What's the term? Because there are people who have headmates who are like human beings who have. By human beings, I mean like people who exist. So say, let's go with Benedict Cumberbatch because he's a popular one. So there are people who have headmates who are Benedict Cumberbatch, and then you have people who have headmates who are Khan Noonien Singh as portrayed by Benedict Cumberbatch. And then there are some people who have Benedict Cumberbatch and Khan Noonien Singh portrayed by Benedict Cumberbatch.
Basically, it's people who want to have schizophrenia to be edgy.
Yes. Oh, so when you say edgelords, this is like a prime example of that.
No, edgelords is a slightly different thing.
Okay, sorry. I still don't fully kind of grasp that. But that's...
Let's be fair, we were edgelords.
Maybe, I don't know. Like I said, I still don't fully grasp it.
It's a strange concept.
Mm.
You know, I only have an image that best sort of describes the thing, and you've seen that. It's the
Ronaldo?
No, it's the guy in the black suit. He's like a little weedy teen kid, and he has a huge ass katana. That's what I mean by an edgelord.
You attacked me with a katana once.
You had a katana as well.
Your katana broke.
Yeah.
You were on the offensive. I was on the defensive. Like, hey, so I don't know about that. It's like, come on, it'll be fun. I practice fencing. It's fine. It's like, okay, stop hitting me. That's exactly how I remember it.
I should have gone for the other sword.
You could have done a lot more damage that way.
Oh, you could have gone longer.
Anywho, because we weren't supposed to be talking about that, but we have been like the first 20 minutes or so just talking about. We haven't even got into furries. Because it's important to note that furries and Otherkin are two distinct groups.
Quite distinct. And we haven't even got to the weird part of Otherkin.
Should we just talk about Otherkin?
Yeah, well, we have plenty of time.
In for a penny, in for a pound.
Well, you know, I've told this story before. You know, I've done many years of research into human sexuality and all that jazz. I've mentioned it on this podcast before, haven't
I? Yeah, well, I think we talked about the book you were writing.
Which no longer exists, sadly.
We might have just talked about it on the Steven Universe podcast, which I kind of wanted to keep a lot more PG-13 than it got. generic podcast that I don't really care about. It seems like we can go a lot darker on this, but
Dude, I am never PG-13.
yes, that's why I said try, and and it didn't work, and
Okay, brief recap for new viewer. When I was a young man, my father
Wait a
said, "Go to the
second!
city."
Whoa! I don't remember your father being part of this.
No, that's My Chemical Romance. I forget, some weeby band. Anyway, when I was much younger, sort of, probably, well, let's go with age 14 as a good start.
I think it was My Chemical Romance.
Yeah. Anyway, I had a lot of unsupervised access to the internet, as I do now. So I got interested in human sexuality, as one does, because,
hey, look at this, gross.
Yeah, basically, it's like, I don't like the look of any of this. Maybe I'm broken. Oh wait, there's all this other weird stuff people do. Maybe I'm into some of that. Let's look at that. And that's where it started. I sort of looked into all these various fetishes and sort of just weird aspects of human sexuality in different cultures and throughout history. And eventually I just got talking to people, lying through my teeth the whole time.
Yes, I am above the 18s.
Yes, I am, grown man. How are my fellow beardsmans?
I pay taxes.
I'm a successful adult.
I have the minimum wage job.
I do not sleep with a stuffed toy.
Me neither.
I still do. Anyway, so lying through my teeth, I started talking to all these people and learned all these interesting things about human sexuality.
But this is actually, like, you were rather young. I assumed that Otherkin was...
I don't know. This is sort of one of the later things I found out about. I'm just starting at the beginning for the sake of explanation. So, I've talked to gay communities, lesbian communities, transgender communities. Though transgender communities aren't sexual in nature, but I did talk to them. Then other like fetish communities and that kind of thing. And eventually, this was one of the last things I actually researched before I lost all my data. I collected like interviews and like all manner of stories from people, but they all got lost when I lost a computer years ago. But anyway, I came across this Otherkin community. It was via furries, because I kept going back to them because they're just endlessly entertaining to me.
They did used to be like the joke of the internet, but like it was like the people who it was okay to hate.
Yeah.
Remember? That changed fast.
Then it became bronies.
And you had better pray to the high heavens that you weren't a kind of furry brony.
Like someone I know.
I think I've seen, like, I think I might actually have a picture from a convention. There was like a really good DJ Pon 3 cosplay that it was like a proper fursuit.
Yeah. No, I've seen plenty of those.
Yeah, but this is one this was in real life. As much as London can be described as real life.
Yeah.
Do you have a thing like where we can screen share? Oh, it looks like I could actually share my screen with you, and I'm assuming put it up on like main screen. But let's not do that for the moment. But
yeah, we'll
play around
that technology. Yeah. Though I have got a new interesting brony story related to this that I'll bring up afterwards. Just
we can go.
Yeah. So anyway, I found this Otherkin site. It was an Otherkin forum, and I was sort of looking through it, and it's like, okay, what's Otherkin? Okay, they're drawing parallels to being transgender. Interesting.
A lot of, or well, at least a couple of Otherkin, like blogs that I've seen and kind of testimonials that I've seen have kind of wanted to. Well, I can't remember if they said they wanted to distance themselves from Otherkin, or they were just complaining that people were using like this idea of Otherkin to.
Oh yeah, Trans people don't, as a rule, the trans community doesn't like otherkin.
No, yeah, and I was going to say this because like people use like otherkin as a way to kind of to kind of take away from like the trans community, like saying that it's the same and this is obviously fake. So
yeah, to delegitimize people, the trans community.
That's the word. Delegitimize trans community. And I've seen like otherkin like blogs and people like saying it's like no, it's you can't kind of use otherkin to kind of it's completely gone from my head again.
Legitimize?
Dislegitimize, if that's even a real word.
Disenfranchise? Is that the word you're looking for?
I think that's the word I was thinking of, but that didn't seem right.
Anyway.
But yes, to kind of like take away from like trans community by kind of using that as an excuse to say that trans issues aren't true either. I can't remember if they were just like saying that it's like a different thing, and they're like saying that
well, this was a good 8 years ago, and in my young mind they were using very similar language intentionally. Basically, their argument for their existence comes that I've read, and this is also down to more modern reading. Basically, is an argument from ignorance. We don't know enough about the human mind, the human soul, whatever, to know everything. So, whatever otherkin can exist. So there are otherkin who, believe they could be literally anything. There are angelkin, demonkin.
Yes, actually, that's what I was going to ask. I just wanted to check a term now. I was going to ask about fictionkin. I'm not sure if fictionkin is like a term used for people who believe that they are like they have like their kinship not with an animal but with like a fictional character.
Yeah, that's
so what is it when your kin type is a mythical creature, like a unicorn, like a dragon?
Then you're just
like a demon or
unicorn kin.
Okay, I thought there was like a separate type, a separate kind of sub name for like people who had a kin type that was like an actual animal, and one which was kind of like a mythic kin.
Could be. I'm not that deep into the community to know that kind of distinction. I just know that fiction kin is a sort of internal division because those kin are normally human somehow.
So yeah, I was just going to ask, like, seeing as this is like the probably kind of like beginnings of this community, at that point, was it just kind of restricted to like actual animals, or was it?
Oh no, it was everyone.
Like saying that it was like demons, angels.
The admin of this forum that I stumbled upon, claimed to be an angelkin. She claimed she had the soul of a guardian angel and had spoken to angels and that kind of stuff.
I'm assuming she was American.
What do you
Not that I'm racist.
Let's be fair.
Was she, or did you not know?
No, she was American. She listed her. Forums often list nationality. She was like in her 40s, from what I remember, like 44. She had a big, long signature that was all about the angel that she was. It was like some name, I can't remember what it was, but it was like bringer of the light and healer of the masses, whatever. It was kind of an obnoxious profile, to be honest.
I would, no, because I was going to say I would like to talk to someone like that, but I just imagine that they would just see me as a troll, because I would kind of like ask. I guess I would just try to trip them up. I would ask kind of, what chorus of angel they were from, or kind of what type of angel.
She had all that shit down.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know.
Remember, 2/3 of Americans believe in angels. No, have believed they've seen angels.
Yeah, but I always kind of assumed that it was kind of like the, angels, guardian angels, and they're all great. It's like, what the fuck's a seraphim? What the fuck's a cherubim? We're talking about angels. What the hell are you talking about? I assumed it was kind of that kind of thing.
It varies from person to person. This individual seemed to know her she knew a fair amount about angel
Knew
lore.
about her kin type.
But sort of there were lots of it seemed actually predominantly to me, though that may have just been what I was sort of picking up, more of the exotic kinds than your bog standard cats and dogs and wolves and that kind of thing.
Mhm.
I sort of
'Cause it seems to me like it does seem like cats and wolves are the more prominent at the moment.
that,
But then
well,
I don't really know all that much about the community, and it does kind of seem like when it does kind of come up on like the channels that I follow, it does they talk about unicorn and dragonkin. I guess because that's the most well, it's exotic and it's fun to talk about. It's kind of interesting rather than.
I mean, you know, it may have entirely be a bias of what I just remembered. This was 8 years ago, remember?
Possibly,
Though it could be that the stigmatization of furries on the internet has sort of led to those sort of migration, if you will.
the other kin didn't want to be associated with furries.
I don't know, because people on the internet, you know, you go on the internet, oh, furries are awful, but I have this weird feeling that I want to be a cat person. I must be another kin. You know, that's just a theory. I mean, it seems like furry communities are actually incredibly healthy, from what I've seen of them lately.
That's good.
You know, as weird as they are, I can't truly hate a community that makes so many cute, fluffy tails.
The tails are good. And the hats. I like the hats.
Yeah. I missed my Akamaru hat.
So yes, you were talking about this kind of other kin community that you.
Yeah.
So it seems to be like mainly like mythical creatures like unicorns, dragons, demons, and devils. You say.
Yeah, and sort of people would role play out their roles and that kind of thing. So there was sort of like a subforum I saw that was a war between the angel kin and the demon kin, that kind of thing.
So you see, that seems a lot kind of more. Well, it seems quite different to like the other kin of today, really, because it does like seem that that would kind of be interesting to. Well, you say like the admin was like in their 40s. It does seem like that would be kind of like an interesting route to go down for like older community. Whereas like this community where it is kind of it seems to be more kind of like a romanticized like idea that does kind of appeal to a younger generation. It does seem to always be like these 16 to 20-year-olds.
Quite possibly. I mean,
like,
another side of it. Sorry. Go ahead.
Do you know like the ages of like the other people on the forum? Did it?
I can't remember.
A trend or you can't remember.
Yeah,
it was a while ago. Yeah.
Yeah, but another aspect of it. I mean, I don't want to sound mean by saying this, because it would be hypocritical for me to say that. Be mean in this, but there is a sort of snowflakeism at the moment with the younger people.
Oh, at the moment, yes, I would say almost definitely.
I mean, there was less of it with our generation, I feel. I mean, well, I suppose with us, it was sort of everyone was gay or bi.
I wasn't. But
Yeah,
I think I get what you mean. Yeah.
You get what I mean? Like everyone, well, not everyone, but loads of people would claim that, at least, especially in our circles.
Yeah.
The weirdo circles.
Mainly the girls. I don't remember many of the guys being like, "Oh yeah, I'm gay, I'm bi." Actually, no, there was one or two. There was a couple, yeah.
Yeah, that was 3 or 4. But there was like, "Oh yeah, I'm bi, but I'm mainly."
Yeah, I'm actually thinking. I remember more and more as yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but so
I think most of them are all heterosexual now.
Yeah, have kids.
A couple of them had kids. Actually, I only know one, but
yeah, I still find that terrifying.
Yeah.
But it seems like the kind of the version of that for today's teenagers, and you know, we're not that much older than them.
No, but I get what you mean, because it's like I guess, you know, it's like the edginess. It's like, you know, I'm being gay just like a couple of years ago, I guess, was kind of edgy. It was, at least in our rural community, it wasn't kind of.
That was 10 years ago, Dan.
Damn it. 10 years. Bloody hell.
That would have been edgy then. that would have been seen as an edgy thing. Hell, I was getting beaten up because I have Jewish ancestry.
Yeah, but I don't know. Should we say that that's kind of down to South Park?
And not the hickness of where we come from.
I don't know, like the hickness of where we come from. If you said that you were, let's just say that you were black, and you kind of said that you got kind of abused because you were black, then yes, like I would put that down to the hickness. But being Jewish, I don't know, because like outwardly you don't, other than the big nose, you don't look Jewish.
I never wear a yarmulke. That is true.
Yeah, exactly. If you walked around wearing a yarmulke and you said it's like, this shit's happening because I'm Jewish, then yeah, probably I wouldn't be surprised by that.
But yeah, so I think that's an element of it.
Mm.
I mean, I know this in the trans community. There's a kind of a thing of trans trenders. It's very similar. Once again, I don't mean to be mean to people.
Again, yeah, not wanting to be mean, but like that's kind of what I see gender fluid as. It seems like a trans trending kind of thing, but it could just be that I don't understand it. I think we've talked about this before, but it's just because I don't know. I guess like the way that I understand, the way that I've seen it, it's just being trans isn't a gender. It's like a state between genders. So it's like you're male transitioning to female, and I just like remember again on the YouTubes, it was like two people who I don't know, probably one of them was I and Liz, another was just like another person, and they were like both saying this like I can't remember like what stage Liz was at, but I can't remember if she said that she identified as trans because she was transitioning, but as soon as that was all over, she would identify as a woman because she's a woman. Whereas there are these young people who kind of don't kind of identify as, well, I'm a woman, but I'm trapped in a man's body, or I identify as a man, I'm trapped in this body. They identify as trans.
Yes, I mean, while gender fluid it can be a thing, sort of the idea that one's gender is in a constant state of flux. I think it's all often used.
I think attract a lot of trans trenders, which might be kind of obfuscating my idea of it.
And I think that's exactly it. I mean, it's like there's agender people out there, but there's a lot of trans trenders, as horrible a term as it is, who gravitate to that. It's the same problem bisexuality had sort of 5-10 years ago.
Well,
no, go ahead.
In my opinion, like if you're bisexual, then I don't know. I kind of see that as being quite different, because I do like know bisexual people who will say it's like, well, usually I'm attracted to this gender, but there are kind of like the days that I just kind of find myself very much more attracted to the other gender.
I was referring more to the effect that sort of this trending of people had on the utilizing of those things. Because I know a lot of bi people have spoken about how, especially within the gay community, they are marginalized now. A bi person who's in a hetero relationship is no longer seen as bi, or problems a bi person has in terms of abuse are seen as non-existent. That kind of thing. I mean, I'm only basing this off articles I've read, but I think that's kind of the effect of what that was, of the effect of all the people who were, bi in their teens and just went straight once they were old enough to actually know what they were. Actually, that's a bad way of saying it. But once they stopped feeling the need to be something they're not. Because you can be any age and be perfectly aware of who you are. But I do think that there are many times in someone's life, and also in different contexts, where you force yourself to be something you're not. Yeah. So yeah, snowflakism is leading to other kin. How we stop this, I don't know.
I don't know.
And actually, should we stop this?
Well, I don't know, because that kind of gets back to the. Did you say she was a Norwegian girl? It's kind of say should we stop this? It's like the psychiatrist saying, or the therapist. I can't remember what figure you said was talking to her. Just like say,
Psychiatrist.
Psychiatrist. Who said let it play out? They'll kind of move past it. To say that it's like a fine, should we stop it? Is like saying, they'll grow out of it. That's.
I mean, as I said when we were talking about her last, my only issue with what she's doing is I worry about her safety. Norway is, as a whole, a much less violent society. Generally, I don't know about their direct sort of assault rates, but I know their murder rates lower than most places.
So I don't know, just trying to rein it back in a bit. We were basically just talking about snowflakeism, and then we were talking about kind of, saying like it's kind of essentially the latest bandwagon, like Otherkin, and also kind of that kind of relates to trans trending.
Yeah.
And we were just trying to basically explain that they're different things, and neither should be used to legitimize or delegitimize the other, in our opinions. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know where you place Otherkin in the scheme of identities, to be honest. It's not a sexuality, it's not a gender identity. I don't know where you place it. And I don't know where it's going to stay in the long term of this thinking about humanity. Because remember, we've been legitimately thinking about transgender people since the 40s, though there are examples of them throughout time. We've been dealing with gay rights for about 100 years now. I don't know where we're going to place Otherkin in the grand scheme of things.
I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon, but I'm not sure what I kind of predict for the future.
A part of me kind of thinks that it may actually grow bigger, because this is a far off thing. But let's say cosmetic, genetic, and cybernetic enhancements become common. Then that will become a more normal thing to see. Now, I personally hope that does happen. I hope cosmetic and cybernetic and genetic augmentation happens like in the next 10 years. But I think if that's the route our society goes down, then we may see more of this. And I kind of want to know where to place it.
I don't know if I think that's like a good idea in like the scheme of kind of Otherkin, because it feels like weird that we might kind of get people who do kind of get these cybernetic or biomechanic tails or ears and just kind of modify their face to kind of become more like their kin type.
Well, you remember what Tiger Man?
Nope.
This is when I wish the screen share feature we knew how to use it. He died recently, last year actually, and I think he'd be a good example for a.
Whoa! I might have found the picture. He's basically got like tattoos all over his face, and I'm gonna say their face.
He's sort of got.
Oh, and he's got bangs as well, and whisker implants,
and
either contacts or eye things.
Contacts. I don't think dyeing your eyes is a thing you can really do yet.
But yeah, no, I see who you mean.
I think he may be an example of an older Otherkin, if you will. But I'll be frank with you, if that technology was available, I know I'd do that stuff. If I could improve my eyesight, I would. There's all manner of things I'd change about my genetics.
Hmm. I don't know. The only thing we can say for sure is it would be damn expensive.
It might come on the NHS if we still have it.
We don't. We won't have the NHS.
And there will be consequences for that.
Hmm. What was I? Where was I going? I was going to try and keep us back on track with something.
Do we have a track?
Yeah, we're talking. We're talking. Doing a serious discussion about Otherkin.
I thought we were off-road conversationally.
No. Very important things.
Riding dirt bikes.
Yes, on a muddy track down the muddy road of muddy ideas. So I think, well, you were like saying, where do we place it? I think we've both kind of like said that we don't think it's like a legitimate thing, and we kind of you like said that, you know, do you think we can actually talk about it without just kind of like saying it's like these people are a bit odd? Or...
I don't think it's a legitimate sort of, in the same way that being trans is legitimate, that it's sort of a legitimate treatment to a medical condition. Because that's what being trans is. It's a treatment for gender dysphoria, just to get that clear. But I can understand the desire to take on the traits of something else.
Okay, so my understanding of Otherkin is that they believe that they are kind of, again, I guess that's kind of like using the a trans kind of description. They believe that they are that kind of animal trapped in the wrong body.
That's what I meant by there, using trans language.
Yeah, and as far as I know, that's kind of like, that is kind of like where they come from. They believe that they are kind of like that creature trapped in this body, or they have like that soul trapped in a human body.
And that's sort of, that's why I don't think it can be as legitimate as being trans, is that there is no scientific basis for that if you're using souls as an example. Now, I'm biased there. I have, you know, my religious beliefs are confusing. But it's sort of, the idea behind it, I don't disapprove of. It's simply, actually, the only thing that really annoys me about them is their use of trans language.
But then how else would you explain it?
That's the difficulty, because the language for trans people is so imprecise. And I have often lamented this.
Because they do, and again, like as to the best of my knowledge, believe that they are kind of like that animal. It's not that they kind of, just like using the word kin again, it's not like they share a kinship. It's not like they kind of, so there's the Norwegian girl, she has like a heightened sense of smell. I remember like the guy who I know who kind of believed that he was otherkin, like a catkin. I think he believed that he had like this enhanced sense of smell and possibly taste, and hearing was his thing. Actually, it was hearing. He believed that he had this kind of animalistic hearing. Where was I going with that?
I don't know.
Don't know. Okay, so it's not just like they kind of think that they have these traits which kind of are seen as animal traits, so they kind of feel some kind of connection with like this animal. So it's like I have you know the hearing of a cat, and it's just like, which I kind of like, I have the strength of a lion, the speed of a cheetah and the strength of a lion and all of these things. It's not that they kind of like share these.
I have the strength of a stick insect.
It's not that they kind of like have these traits and kind of think, you know, well, I kind of relate this to this animal, so I kind of like, in this aspect, I see myself as kind of, you know, ferocious, like another large cat, as
a Maine Coon. As a Maine Coon.
Maine Coon, whatever that is.
They're the largest domestic cats.
Hmm.
They're adorable.
Okay. So it's not that they kind of like take these kind of traits and think that they have some kind of
It's that they believe they're actually that
yeah.
they're, and if you want to believe in the transmigration of souls, that could be true.
I don't believe in that at all, though.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think that's the most logical use of souls. If you want to take the idea that souls exist,
Hmm.
I like the idea that souls are a renewable resource.
Mm. I can't remember if I've. Well, actually, yes. So we do have like this. I think that is something which is brought up in the community, like this, the idea of reincarnation, and that's kind of like where this comes from. But then it's kind of hard to. I have seen arguments for it, but it's hard to kind of then use that to legitimize people who are mythical kin, who have like these unicorns and these dragons,
Angels and demons, and
angels and demons.
I wonder how many dinosaur kin there are.
I haven't happened upon any. The closest thing I would know would be Tumbles the Stair Dragon, but he was a furry. He wasn't an otherkin.
But that'd be pretty badass.
Mm.
Like, I'm a Tyrannosaurus Rex kin. Well, I'm a Tyrannosaurus Rex kin. Actually, on the note of Titanosaurus, I watched a documentary on it the other day by Dave Attenborough.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best documentaries I've seen in years.
It was Edinburgh, so yeah.
It involved dinosaurs and had an Attenborough. What more do you want?
I don't know. So yeah, like transferal of souls, it does seem like a weird argument because we do have these
mythical kin,
which we shall so dub, even if it's the right term or not. But because even like angels and demons, I don't think they have souls to begin with, but also they're immortal.
Well, fair point. But it's I don't think in any cosmology they're pure divine essence. So yeah, that's an interesting point, and maybe you should go on an Otherkin forum and bring that up.
Loudly. They wouldn't like me.
Like, call your name. Have your username be the Astounding Atheist.
Is there anything else that you want to cover on just like general otherkin, just kind of experience that you've had? Any stories, anything that you want to say?
Let me think for a second.
And I'll think as well, because it's I can't remember if there's I can't remember what we've talked about. We've been talking for about an hour on this.
We've talked about many issues of it. I mean,
talked about several aspects, yeah.
I mean, my point, basically, I'll sum up my thoughts on them. I think that's probably the best thing to do. At the end of the day, if this is how people want to express themselves and they can do it safely, then I see no reason to stop them. Where I think that I think the limit of that is when you sort of begin legislating absurdity. If something like, now this is obviously going to be taken to the transgender context, but I'll deal with that. If, say, another kin wanted to change their gender from male or female or intersex or whatever to cat, that would be a ridiculousness to me, because cat is not a gender. And in no way can sort of is it relevant to when that would be needed. That's sort of my one thing I don't think that it should ever go to. Should we mock these people on the streets? Of course not. Should we ask them when they got such fabulous cat ears? Yes. And that's sort of my thought. If they can do it safely, no reason to stop them, but maybe they should think about this a bit harder. Because I wonder if that angel king lady thought about whether angels have souls.
Well, because the way that you described it, or the way that I kind of interpreted that, it wasn't that she was like the reincarnation of angel or something. It was that essentially
she was the host of an angel or some crap
she
like
was
that.
kind of like the host, or that the angel, I guess, I don't want to get too religious, but kind of like a kind of a Jesus figure, and like there's this divine presence who has been born into a mortal body for a set amount of time on the material plane.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I would explain my way around it.
I don't know. Maybe she's still in the community somewhere.
Maybe.
Maybe you should track her down, Dan, and then it'll be a beautiful love story.
Maybe not. So my closing thoughts.
You not stick your dick in crazy?
Just trying to think. I don't want to talk about it. It's.
I know some of the people you've had sex with. That's not a rule you follow at all.
Like, I don't want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
My closing thoughts, or just like of our discussion of the community and people and stuff. I think my kind of experience, I have actually had like this personal experience with otherkin, and one person definitely so, and like their best friend. I'm not sure if they were otherkin or not, but it was kind of like a I don't know. I guess again, like I don't want to kind of use derogatory language, but it did seem to be like a shared delusion that they were kind of reinforcing for each other, and I felt like that was kind of like a dangerous thing. And like on these online communities, you do have these people who kind of believe these things, and they all kind of agree with each other, and they're all kind of supporting this kind of shared delusion. So whereas it might just start out as this kind of trending thing that they're just kind of doing it to kind of garner attention, or to garner to kind of feel like they belong in this community, it's kind of run back and forth, and it's kind of self-perpetuating, and kind of people will say it's like, oh well, you feel this and this, so this kind of means that is kind of what you are kind of otherkin. And so whereas maybe like before you would have like someone who kind of believed this about themselves, there wasn't this kind of large support network of people supporting them, so that you would kind of be forced to kind of grow out of it and just kind of move on, and it would just kind of like be a thing that was left in childhood. Whereas I know people who are kind of adults, like becoming adults, people who should, because I don't kind of believe in any of this, and I think they are just, it feels like they are just kind of, it feels like they're just kind of playing make-believe. But there are people kind of out there who are supporting the idea that that's not what they're doing.
I mean, my one thing about that is, what's wrong with that? You know, if these people, yes, they're making make believe it's something, but if this community and support network makes their lives overall better, if with this support network they no longer feel isolated and alienated, and sort of that improves their mental health type thing, because these things always go hand in hand with mental health problems. That's just a fact. You know, any kind of close knit community like this, a lot of the reliance is sort of a support group with people with mental health problems, and most people have mental health problems. Anyway, what's the harm if there's this, if they can create this support network, gain friends over something that, as you say, they probably could have grown out of, but perhaps because they have this crutch, allows them to be a healthier person.
If they did, if I did see an end to it, and if I did see them kind of eventually growing out of it, then I wouldn't see any problem at all, because they would have gone through it all. And they would have kind of made these friends, found these people who then they could kind of relate to, and kind of look back on kind of that time in their lives and kind of like say, you would kind of go through it all and you would still have like the support network afterwards. But I see people and I don't see them ever growing out of it, and they're kind of continuing going on. And I see it as a bad thing for this same reason as I see kind of what's the word? Kind of opposite of radicalized. Very kind of
Moderarized.
Very kind of moderate religion is like I see the same problems. I don't think that a comforting delusion is better than the truth of things, because you can still find comfort and solace with a rational worldview.
Mm-hmm.
It might be harder, but if you're going to rely on a crutch, then you should rely on the crutch until you're able to walk. You don't rely on the crutch.
Well, some people need that crutch forever. Remember that. But what I compare this to is fetish communities, because that's what I know most. And that is people who make friends, relationships, families out of this one tiny aspect of their lives. And it's that sense of community over an aspect of yourself that helps people.
I guess then, put it this way, I think they are kind of disadvantaging themselves by holding on to this delusion.
I mean,
and I don't like kind of keeping calling it a delusion, but I kind of think that's what it is. And I think they are kind of disadvantaging themselves. Like, you won't see, I wouldn't like imagine like any kind of managers of any companies kind of going around like saying, it's like, okay, so we're going to increase this, we're going to do this, we're going to kind of take on staff, and solve all these problems, but while you're doing it, can you please refer to me as poor self, bun self? I don't see like these otherkin communities achieving kind of like these higher positions in society.
Well, there's sort of all manner of aspects of that. I mean, once again, relating it to the fetish example, if you can, there are people.
Well,
Sorry?
having an unusual fetish, like you said, that's like a small part of their lives. That's something you can separate from your everyday life.
Yes, whereas, and that's the key part. Whether these other kin can separate it.
From what I've seen, like firsthand, no. It's all encompassing.
So it's more of a identity than anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we've gone on too long about this. So do we have time for another topic? I can't remember when we started.
We started about like an hour and 10 minutes ago.
Okay. And we've just lost our one viewer, so.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. Bye, viewer.
I was going to say that we could just. Did you follow Mr. Epsion?
No.
No, but you do follow The Amazing Atheist.
No, he just occasionally pops up in my YouTube feeds. Something I might like to view.
Did you watch his Otherkin videos?
I watched the first one.
The one where he's basically saying, I'm going to be talking about Otherkin.
Yeah. And then was just like, what is this? Oh, I'm very fat. That was basically his name.
Yeah. I can't really remember that one very much. I remember the second one. So I thought we would just kind of like talk about his video.
The viewer's back.
Oh,
Hi,
cool.
guy. How you doing?
A new one is. So yes, The Amazing Atheist, he recently did a video about Otherkin. And I'm not sure whether he was truthful with his intention, because he kind of made the video like saying that, I need to explain what Otherkin are before I do this video that I've wanted to do for a long while about Otherkin. And he just kind of like went out explaining it. These are people who kind of believe that they have the soul or the essence or the kind of they are this animal, this creature, this thing trapped in a human form. And then he kind of like explained that, and then he was going to do his video, but he didn't really outline what his video was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then his actual video on the otherkin community was basically his response to the response he got from his first video, which was kind of a violent outburst. People telling him that he didn't know shit, people telling him that he should kill himself, people telling him that it's people like him that cause people in the otherkin community to kill themselves, and that by doing this he will kind of emotionally trigger and upset and people in the community and cause them to commit suicide, so he should just kind of step off and
yes, but the thing about
kill himself before that happens.
The thing about TJ is the amazing atheist is he just wants to create reactions. He often is a.
And that's kind of like the idea that I got. The way that I imagine it, because he didn't actually do his video in the end. He said he was just going to do like this reaction to the reactions, and then he was just going to kind of not do it anymore. I think that what he did was actually say this thing to provoke the response that he knew he was going to get, and then just make a video on that. I think that might have been his plan all along.
Because that's fundamentally easier than actually analyzing and sort of looking creating an interesting look at community. And that's what he does. That's what he's always done. He is an abrasive personality that gets people to respond, and then he responds to their response. You know, there's a lot of online personalities like that. I mean, I'm quite a big fan of Jim Sterling, and that even he does that to a certain degree. And it's a shame because they're both very intelligent people who could give quite interesting and thought-provoking responses to things.
Yeah, but TJ is kind of more interested in his Patreon dollar from his podcast.
And we're never going to get that dollar, Dan.
But I need the dollar. Dollar is what I need.
In fairness, I probably need it more than you.
True. We need the dollar.
Yeah. My bank account currently has £2.50 in it.
Mine only has like 5,800 and something in it.
I would slap you with my cock if I could.
But you can't.
Yeah, it's too small. Anyway.
Too small from Wales, yeah.
Well, you know, just in general. So you also wanted to talk about furries?
Not now. We can do that next week if you want.
Okay, I mean, I haven't got that much to say on furries.
Me neither, but I could probably dig up a few things.
I mean, I'll actually tell you that story I mentioned ages ago about one of my recent finds. I mean, admittedly, I'm no longer sort of doing active research into the fetish community. I've just sort of come to the conclusion that human sexuality is just too varied and too sort of, there's just too much of it to sort of give a proper critique to it anyway. And I don't mean critique as in criticize, I mean critique as in analysis. So I came across this site.
No, wait, I just like had this this image of my mind of like just two people like having sex or whatever it was, and then you were just kind of sitting in the corner, just going, "You're doing it wrong."
I'd have a pipe, like a leather windback chair. No, you're doing it wrong. Now you get the horse stirrups. You the whipped.
No, we leave it there. You were going on with your anecdote.
Yeah. So I was talking to someone who I recently met on one of many forums I frequent. I sort of don't. I've only actually recently re-engaged with some of these communities just because I like the communities. There are nice people there. And they sent me this link to this thing I might be interested in, which was pony hypnosis. Now, brief thing, hypnotism is a fetish. There is a fetish for being hypnotized and hypnotizing people. It's also an adjunct to many other fetishes as an aid to roleplay and to get one into the various mindsets that those fetishes base themselves around, particularly age play and pet play. So,
Right. Age play and what was the second one?
pet play.
Okay, we don't need to go into that. Carry on with the story.
We can go into that if you want.
No.
So, this person sent me this link, and it took me a while to actually get onto this forum. There were
Actually,
problems.
no, wait.
What?
No, I was just like thinking that might not actually be as awful as I initially thought. But anyway, no, carry on.
So, this is a website, well, a community. I don't know how broad it is outside of this one community. I haven't looked. I've just been interested in this one community that where people put on hypnosis files in aid to become a character from My Little Pony.
An original character or an actual character?
Actual character and original.
Okay.
There are files to become Fluttershy if you want.
So you say they put up files, so basically just like audio files which you would download, listen to, and just kind of.
Yeah, I mean they have someone wrote a program for creating a visual space, a visual sort of thing to look at and engage in trance, where you just put in pictures of the pony you want to be.
That sounds unusual.
I mean, it's a common program in a common thing in the hypnosis community to use, but I just find the fact that they just say just put on your favorite pictures of your favorite pony. Now they don't supply the pictures. That's the funny thing. They just assume you have a collection of pictures.
I don't think hypnosis would really work on me all that well.
Well, you know, everyone's different, but
the only experience I have with it was a Darren Brown. There was a show that he was doing where he basically put up this kind of hypnosis pattern kind of talk audio thing that was supposed to prevent you from being able to stand up, which worked for like lots of people across the country, but I don't know, it just didn't work on me for whatever reason.
There's many different forms and types, and sort of the common type.
Finding whatever works for you.
Yeah, I mean the most common type online is there's sort of it's kind of a mixture of an AMSR effect. You're familiar with this, right?
No.
It's basically sort of using sound or particular sensation. Everyone, well, people who claim to be affected by AMSR sort of have different things. So there's like taste, smell, touch. Sound is the most common one to relax you. I don't know how good the science is on it. I've just looked into it. Actually, this YouTube channel was favorited by an AMSR channel early on because apparently my readings had an AMSR effect on people.
Nice.
Yeah, ignore the dog. And so there's sort of like an introduction to get you relaxed, and you're meant to hit a trance state where your subconscious is open, and then you're filled with the essence of the pony.
Okay. This
actually might be an interesting adjunct to other kin. These people trying to become, well, they're fiction kin, I guess, trying to become these fictional characters. You know, I gave it a try.
Did it work for you, or did you not kind of?
Nah.
No, I think there's like a fundamental difference in that you don't believe that you are that character. It's that you kind of want to have that experience, I guess.
Yeah, that's sort of how I explored the hypnotism community. Is I tried all manner of files just to sort of hear what they were trying to get across and how they were using it. Admittedly, the weird thing was, I mean, admittedly, it's actually not that weird, but the thing that sort of took me out of it the most and made it really quite ineffective, because I can get into a trance state if I try. I use Twilight Sparkle because she's my favorite character. So I thought it might be, a bit more effective there. What?
Books.
I like the box. So
We both like the books.
yeah, the books are good. Princess Celestia sent help.
Princess Celestia, I'm in trouble. Please send books.
All of them. So I tried this, and there were three sort of. These are the best Twilight Sparkle files on this entire community. It's actually quite a big community, several thousand people. All of them were men. All of them were men reading the script.
Okay.
And it was like one of them had like my creepy German voice.
That's okay.
I listened to that one the longest because it was hilarious. I am going to put you into a trance now. You just need to sit back and relax and think of Twilight Sparkles. You will soon
Lay back and think of England.
lay back and think of Equestria.
Mm.
Now, an interesting sort of side part of this was I didn't explore it too fully because I was laughing at German voice guy.
Mm-hmm.
Was let's do this sub thing that's an idea I've never come across before. And I will see if I can come up with the proper name. But it's sort of these people using hypnosis to create and sort of reinforce imaginary friends.
Mm-hmm.
What was the term they used? And they're sort of basing it on a pseudo-Buddhist idea, which is quite interesting. I think it's like it's not Mandela. Okay. Oh, Talupa, or and spiritual dreams.
Mm-hmm.
So, from sort of my googling of this, basically people were trying to create these talupas of ponies as a sort of imaginary friend. I agree with the face you just made.
I'm not sure what face I just made.
You kind of went, ugh.
Mm.
Now, I don't want to insult this community. You know, they're a weird, fun bunch. I haven't talked that much with them, but the person who sent me the link is a member of it. And she's a lovely person. Yes, and it is an actual she.
Yes, she's a girl, a guy in real life, a girl.
I spoke to her on Skype the other night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I don't doubt that there might be a woman in this community.
One.
One.
I mean, you know, her pony is Lyra Heartstrings.
Mm-hmm. Who's a humankin?
Weirdly, yes. Or they did actually do a parody of it's like a Humi. I forget.
Oh, so you got like a furry and a human.
It's like yeah, and so there's like pictures online of
Oh god, she's in a human suit.
Yes.
But yeah, we'll call it a day there, I think.
Because we can't top that, I don't think.
No, but I was just going to say there are like a few other things. If you are interested in otherkin,
then pelt them with tomatoes on the street. That's how we communicate.
No, there are kind of just do take everything with a pinch of salt, because there are like the people out there who try to make parody accounts, and it kind of does go into, I think is it Poe's law, where you can't, or it's a thing on the internet gets to a point where you can't really discern satire from the real thing.
That's why I don't really look at blogs for my information. I look at
otherkin information.
I go to forums. Well, not for other things,
yeah.
just information in general. I'll always look at a forum because at the end of the day, you're not going to get that mass of people all being trolls. Unless it's a troll forum. But we call that 4chan and we know about it.
Yes. Don't go to 4chan for your information on otherkin.
Or anything, really. Well, actually, they give really good tabletop advice.
I was going to say, like, I think another thing which they kind of bring up a lot is kind of Native American
Two-spirit.
I guess Two-Spirit. I actually forgot about that, where you kind of like share it. Because you have like your.
It's actually a kind of related to the trans movement thing. It's part of the global idea of third gender, which is a part of many cultures. And with the Two-Spirit people of native tribes, or First Nation tribes, I think they prefer to be called now, is the idea that two souls inhabit one body. Typically, this is a male soul and a female soul. And the individual will enact roles and rights of both genders. They hold a special shamanistic place in the society.
Then also you have like a spirit animal, is it? I think.
Yes, but
and that's kind of like another connection to like an animal, like a special connection, like a kinship that kind of exists in history, that is kind of accepted, and it's just there are kind of like things that people kind of do talk about, which does kind of give it an interesting, does make it like a really interesting topic to kind of think about and talk about and kind of look into, without just kind of like this kind of threat that, you know, so like when I kind of brought this idea up, you were just like, as long as we don't just kind of like rant about them, or just like as long as we just don't say that they're weird,
because that's what most people do.
What most people do, but it is kind of like a really interesting thing. And well, I think we have probably been we have been very negative on the whole kind of community, but
I hope we've still been respectful.
Yes,
you can oppose a position and still be respectful. I think people need to remember that. I mean, I don't, as a whole, oppose them. I'm sort of in the middle ground here. I don't really care what you do.
I just think you're delusional and you need to grow out of it. Because I'm an awful person. We've said this many times before.
Yep. You know, somehow I've ended up the moderate. And I was the communist for years.
Yes. Let's not talk about that.
How does that happen?
I'm mostly moderate. By internet standards.
Yeah. Well, actually, I don't know how good a painter you are. I remember you being quite good, actually.
Painting? I don't do much painting.
Well, I remember you did some in school, and I remember you being quite good.
I think I was okay. I'm not sure if I've got any stuff. I might have chucked a lot of it out.
I know I did.
I probably kept like the actual kind of books that we had. Like, I'm not sure.
I got rid of most of that years ago.
Yeah, so I'm having a bit of a clear out at the moment. I've got rid of a few like very old books, which I know sacrilege, but nothing important. One was just like a Guinness Book of Records. Others were just like Dan Brown books. Nothing important.
You know, that's what charity shops are for.
Yeah, I took them to the local Oxfam. I'm sure that I've bought more books than I've donated, so I'm still at a net gain. Anyway, it's very interesting, and it's kind of interesting to look into. I guess it's part of why I'm thinking about looking more into anthropology. I'm trying to decide possibly. Well, I'm thinking of going to university this year, and I'm trying to decide. I have no idea what I want to kind of study further, but anthropology is one of the routes that I've been thinking about, and it's just because humans are so fucking weird.
Yeah, as a group, we are. You know.
So let's leave it there. That shall be our closing thought for this generic podcast. Humans are fucking weird.
Yeah. Make sure to come back on Friday when we'll have the new book club. Good night.
Oh, actually, we could also change the commas around in that sentence. Or humans are fucking weird.
Oh, that's where I started.
That's where you're. Yeah. But yes, we're starting the book club. That's going to be this Friday.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I still haven't read the book.
I listened to the audiobook. I think, well, yes, we'll discuss it on Friday.
Good night.
Good night.